I am Divyanshu Choudhary. I have secured All India rank 30 in UPSC Civil Services Examination 2020. This was my second attempt at civil services. A bit of a brief background about myself. I have done my engineering from BITS Pilani, MBA from IIM Calcutta, and then I worked for a year in HSBC Bank as well. And after that, I decided to quit my job and started preparing for civil services. So as Apala has already mentioned all the major pointers of the interview, so I think I'll just like to give a brief recount of my journey from the first attempt to second attempt. I reached till the interview stage in the first attempt as well, and I had scored 146 marks. This year I have been able to secure 206, so it has been a massive jump of 60 marks which has landed me here at this position. So the first thing that I would like to say is that I learned a lot from my first interview experience. I still remember that when I had got the interview call and the D-Day came, it was a lot of pressure and I was really overwhelmed because the relatives were like, "Ab to ladka IAS banne hi wala hai bas." So I remember entering into the hall and I was really nervous. And I think this nervousness reflected in the actual interview as well. I did not get a good start and I was not able to impress the chairperson ma'am effectively, I thought. And when the first panel members started asking me questions, I was so nervous that I ended up replying 2-3 easy questions wrongly. For example, I think he asked about principles of natural justice and I replied judicial activism ka definition. So I was so nervous and then he said that your answer is wrong. So I think my interview just went downhill from there. And I still remember the last panel member, I mistakenly interjected him as well and he ended up shouting on me. So मेरे को इंटरव्यू रूम में रियलाइज हो गया था कि अब प्रीलिम्स की तैयारी करनी ही पड़ेगी और कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है. सो दिस वाज माय फर्स्ट इंटरव्यू एक्सपीरियंस and this time since I had got a lot of time for the preparation, particularly because of the COVID scenario, and thankfully the interview this year was on my father's birthday as well, so I think that was a really lucky day for me. So I decided to learn out of my first experience that firstly whatever happens, I'm going to go in with a very calm and confident demeanor. I'm going to listen to each and every question really patiently, wait for the member to get done with it and then think over it and then start answering it. So this was my first learning from the last interview experience. The second one was that during my first interview, I barely got a month to prepare since my interview fell in the second week itself. But this time, since I had a lot of time, so I decided to devote a majority of it to my DAF preparation. As Apala mentioned, I had also prepared a holistic register of all the words of my DAF, prepared it really well. And there was one hobby that I had mentioned in my DAF, which was Indian mythology. And everybody in this country, I believe, has something or the other perception related to Indian mythology. So I decided to read again both the epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and at the same time mythological fiction writers whom I'm really fond of, like Amish Tripathi, Ashwin Sanghi, etc. I also reread their books again and again so that I will be able to answer those questions really well. The third thing that I did was there was a PDF of transcripts available for the people who had cleared or not cleared the interview last year. So I had downloaded that and based on my profile, I singled out all the questions that I could then answer. I googled everything and then I was able to form a very holistic note for them. I think the best part of my preparation was number of mocks. Last time, since I didn't get much time, I only gave 5 mocks. This time I gave 30 mock interviews. And I still remember every day what I used to do was I used to just Google UPSC mock interview coachings और Google का 4th-5th page तक मैं पहुंच जाता था. So I had literally finished each and every institute possible in this country who is giving out mock interview programs. And the funny thing that is happening is now that they are all calling me and saying कि सर आप प्लीज़ अपना एक्सपीरियंस बताइए और मेरे को याद ही नहीं है कि पैनलिस्ट थे कौन क्योंकि मैंने इतने सारे दे दिए तो आई एम नॉट एबल टू रिमेंबर दैट. So I think that was a really good start, and also this I did because I don't think 30 is like a very optimum number to go for if we talk about the mock interviews. But since I knew that last time I was very nervous, I want to be as confident as possible this year. And specifically the Indian mythology part is something that since people are really interested in, I wanted to cover it very holistically. So I think that really helped. And I would really like to thank Khan sir here, because he had also asked around 4 to 5 questions in my mock interview, 2 of which were repeated in the actual interview as well. The next thing that I want to talk about is high points in the interview, which I think are very important to get a very good score. For example, I still remember when I walked into the interview room, Smita Nagaraj ma'am was my chairperson, and the first question she asked me was, what are the changes you saw when you moved from BITS to IIM? And I just blurted out, ma'am, the first change was gender ratio. The engineers here know what I'm talking about. So I think that gave me a really good start, because the entire panel started laughing, and it just went uphill from there. So I think that was one thing. And the second one was that my final question also had to related something to leadership and management, and I was able to answer it really well. And after I had answered it, I saw a satisfactory smile on ma'am's face. And I still remember last year the chairperson Satyavati ma'am was not smiling when I had gone off, and the person who was sitting left to me, he was the one who had shouted on me. And this time ma'am was smiling, and the person left to me was also smiling. So I think my redemption got complete this year. So that was a very good feeling. And finally, I would like to thank Khan sir for his guidance during the interview program. And I still remember this year I was not able to sleep till I think 4:30 in the morning. My interview was in the afternoon session, and so you had sent us a WhatsApp video which basically had all the strengths which you had mentioned in the actual interview as well. So I just thought that I should have a look at the video, because I was getting a lot of messages one day before of all the bests and everything. So I just thought of seeing that, and when I saw that sir has given a lot of strengths and everything. So I just slept peacefully after that. So that I think is the reason I'm standing here, sir. So thank you so much for that. Thank you.